So we're going to show you how to take this skylight and turn it into a skylight like this. They started out the exact same size. The only difference is this one I have put the drywall across with the texture, and I've installed this light diffuser. So you can see how much light it still lets in and how clean and nice that looks compared to a giant skylight. Okay, so you can clearly see that I have taken the drywall and covered up the skylight. The skylight is located kind of about here. I marked it before I textured. I had everything marked off in pencil, and then I just took a razor knife and made a nice little hole center of the skylight. Then I took this diffuser that we bought. This diffuser is in two pieces. It just kind of has a little twist lock together, and take the ring out, center it about as much as you can. You want to measure your circle as best as possible. You can use pretty much any method you feel is appropriate to locate this centered. And then once you have your circle drawn out, you can use several types. There's a handheld saw you can use, especially for drywall. You can try using a razor knife. I wouldn't suggest it. I'm just going to use a typical jigsaw, which you can buy anywhere, any hardware store, Harbor Freight. It all depends on what budget you have, and it doesn't need to be anything fancy. You're just cutting a small little hole in drywall. It doesn't need to be very precise. Okay, once you take and you have your hole cut in the ceiling, if you've noticed, we took and left that giant piece of styrofoam up there for some extra insulation because we didn't feel that drywall would be quite enough for insulation. So once you have your hole cut, you take your mount for your diffuser, and it has these little cam locks on it. Once you take and start tightening the screw, these fingers will come over and start tightening, and it will cinch down in between the drywall and your plastic diffuser. Now these have a gasket here, and they have a gasket on the diffuser itself to eliminate everything. So once you have your hole cut, you have your styrofoam in here. Your styrofoam, you can just peel down the extra. It's quite easy once the saw's cut through. Just pull out the extra. Feel the heat coming out of here. See, I mean, that's a pretty big space, so you want as much insulation in there as possible. The hole doesn't have to be real pretty. There's a pretty big lip on the end of this mount, and there's a pretty big lip on the end of the diffuser glass that you put in here. So once you get this in there, it's a little bit of a snug fit because you don't want to have it too loose in there. Have it. Got a nice mounted light source. Now I'm using a screw gun. You don't have to. You can use just a regular screwdriver. Now these pieces are plastic, the anchors that move, so you don't want to tighten them down too much, you just want to snug them up. Tighten them down too much, they'll strip or they'll crack your drywall. There you have it. And once you get all that in there, grab a hold of that styrofoam and pull it back down, right around. That's done. Take your diffuser. Just twist right in there. There you have it. Nice, clean, natural light, well insulated. And it looks nice and clean. No one will ever know the difference. Now these diffusers are actually part of a different setup that you take and you have a big ball on the top of your roof, which you would take and cut a hole in your roof. You have a big tube and it goes down to a kind of like an hourglass shaped mirror to reflect all the light. Now that setup is very, very costly. And you can do that to eliminate this skylight setup that originally came with the house. But again, that's a lot of work, some roof work, a lot of time, a lot of money, and that's well above a lot of people's expertise. That is certainly well above mine. I am not going to try to tackle that, but using the styrofoam in there with the insulation and the drywall and using the diffuser, this has turned out very well and very clean. So you have a lot of natural light without the hassle, very clean, neat, and I think it looks pretty good. Again, I did this whole entire thing with the diffuser. The styrofoam, you're looking at maybe about $45 to $50 compared to the increase in your heat and air conditioning. I think it's well worth it, and it looks very clean. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, please leave them. Thumbs up, thumbs down, and look forward to the rest of my posts. Thank you.